This is the week that could break a president, and this is where it could happen. Many members of Congress, returning from their summer break, are deeply sceptical about plans to strike Syria. Perhaps they won't pay much heed to the protesters outside, but the Russian plan could make them more hesitant about action.
And it's a great pleasure to host my great friend and colleague John Kerry here.
It all started in London, alongside an ally familiar with the dangers of democracy, desperate not to be thought unreliable. John Kerry made the proposed strike sound hardly anything to be worried about, calling it almost insignificant, and then mused about how it could be avoided.
He could turn over every single bit of his chemical weapons to the international community in the next week. Turn it over, all of it, without delay, and allow a full and total accounting for that. But he isn't about to do it, and it can't be done, obviously.
The Russians begged to differ, and with a remarkable rapidity picked up the ball and ran hard.
We don't know if Syria will agree to this, but if the establishment of international control over chemical weapons in that country would allow avoiding strikes, we will immediately start working with Damascus and appeal to the Syrian government not only to agree to place the sites where chemical weapons are stored under international control, but also for them to be subsequently destroyed.
The chance of stopping anything like this ever happening again has an obvious appeal, and it was welcomed almost at once by the United Nations.
I think that would be a proper way for Syria to do, agree to these proposals. Then I'm sure that the international community will have a very swift action to make sure that these stocks, chemical weapon stocks, will be stored safely and will be destroyed.
All this seemed to rather put a spoke in the White House wheels, just as they were gathering momentum to sell the president's plans. He's got 6 TV interviews lined up tonight, a speech to the nation tomorrow. So inside there, in a briefing, a rather grudging acknowledgement of the Russian idea.
We've seen the reports. We want to take a hard look at the proposal. We'll obviously discuss the idea with the Russians. And of course, we would welcome a decision and action by Syria to give up its chemical weapons.
We never set out to spend 8 years at war in Iraq.
Already the no votes were piling up from both fierce foes and familiar friends. This ad was produced by an organisation that's always campaigned hard for the president.
With no real plan for the consequences, we already know it gets worse.
But other old allies are coming out fighting.
This is about protecting both the Syrian people and our friends in the region. The world will have to deal with this threat as swiftly and comprehensively as possible.
The Senate will come to order.
The Senate is back in session, although you'd hardly know they face a momentous decision. They're determined to take their time and now have something new to chew on.